a toasty one. It's a toasty one out. A nice and, well, I wouldn't even say, I was about to say nice and cool. Not even close. It's got to be what? 70? No, even hotter than that. 80, 81. Honestly, I probably shouldn't be wearing shorts, or I should be wearing shorts and a tank. But, I don't know. Even when it's hot, I kind of like still covering up. Then you get extra sweaty too. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, or if you even care, but if you finish your workout, you're drenched in sweat underneath of whatever, you know, baggy clothes you're wearing, busted off for your pump check. You kind of have some fucking extra reflection going on, you know. That's why bodybuilders on stage, they, you know, they oil up after their tan so they can get some extra, you know, just some extra coolness factor going. But, you know, regardless of small talk about the weather, what's the plan for the lift? We all know the deal. We all get the gist. I'm going to change it up a touch. I have been prioritizing mainly either incline dumbbell bench, incline barbell, or incline Smith machine as my first heavy pressing movement. But this gym that I'm going to has an incline hammer strength press that I really like, so I might want to start there. But they also have an old school Smith machine that is perfectly up my alley too, so I think I'll start with one or the other. But, you know, don't get misled. Even though I am kind of like, okay, should I start with this or should I start with that? I'm not kind of pondering what movement I should start with, because I think, like, if I start with this, it's a wrong move, and if I start with this, it's the right move. You know, the differences are going to be marginal. It's more so about just kind of really sort of my personal fucking preference. You know, all my pecs know when I'm doing whatever heavy pressing I'm doing to start with is, holy crap, this is a lot of weight. That's all it knows. It doesn't know if I'm doing dumbbell. It doesn't know if I'm doing chest press or incline Smith. It doesn't know jack. All it knows is how much it's firing and what kind of load it's fighting against. So as long as you're doing heavy, you know, I'm talking as heavy as you can go for about 10 reps. I think in general, that's the sweet spot for a really heavy set. And then if you can have somebody give you some assisted reps at the end, that's never going to be a bad move either. But if you're doing a pressing movement where you're going heavy enough, where you fail at about 10 reps, you know, whether it's incline bench, Smith, dumbbell, machine, it's whatever. You know, just make sure it's a hard set. I end up kind of rotating between the four of them, just because, you know, maybe for a while I kind of want to bias my, well, I just want to do really heavy incline barbell. You know, so for a while I might do all incline barbell. I might do incline barbell as my starting movement for like 2 months straight. And then eventually I'm like, I'm kind of tired of it. I want to change it up. You know, pick an incline dumbbell or something, or incline Smith, or, you know, insert any other incline pressing movement. Partially for the sake of just changing up the training, but it is going to feel different and a different movement, even though I was just saying you're still going to be working your chest because you are pretty much pressing in the exact same way. But the feeling and kind of the strength curve of different pressing, you know, different pressing varieties, it is very different. Like when you're doing an incline Smith machine or an incline barbell, when you push that weight all the way up to the top and your arms are now completely extended, sure, your chest is still going to be firing, but for the most part, the tension on your pecs is gone. You know, that's the resting position. When you're doing incline barbell or Smith to failure and you're in those last couple of reps, you're not resting at the bottom and taking a breath. You know, you're holding it up top. Whereas movements like incline dumbbell and then most, you know, chest presses, a lot of the time there isn't really even a resting position, because with an incline dumbbell, since the weights are free to move side to side, even though you can completely extend your arms to hold them up above you, your chest still has to fire to keep them from falling to your sides. And then with most chest press machines, not all of them, but most plate loaded ones at least, they, well, the weight doesn't get heavier, but the amount of force that your hands are feeling throughout the range of motion increases throughout the rep, because the weight is getting further and further away along the arc that is being lifted, you know. I don't know how much you know about trigonometry, but it's like a fucking side lateral raise. When you're holding the dumbbells at your side, your side delts don't have to fire. You know, all the force is just being translated up to your shoulder joint. Whereas as you lift the weight and it gets further and further away from your body, right, your side delt has to work more. So even though with a machine press, when you push up to the top, you're still kind of in a resting position, the fact that the weight gets heavier as you do it makes the feeling of the set completely different than like an incline barbell. You know, I know I'm getting kind of a little bit complicated here, but when I do a set of incline barbell, right, the weight, the tension that my chest is feeling increases, and it's the heaviest at the bottom, you know, because that's when my arm is completely parallel. You know, that's where the most tension is going to be. And then as I get higher and higher up, the weight technically gets easier and easier and easier. And then, you know, I can re-rack it or hold it up there for a second, rest, and do it again. Whereas with an incline machine press, the weight gets heavier, 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 heavier. Yeah. And then failure on those machines and those sets just look a little bit different, you know. So it's just something to think about, right? I wouldn't freak too much in terms of really, you know, like, okay, I'm in this chest workout, I want to make sure I hit absolutely every fiber. I want to hit my upper pec and my pec major and my pec minor. You know, I think there's definitely value in looking at it in such a really specific and, like, you know, minutely catered approach. But, you know, I think it's kind of overkill. You know, do some incline pressing, do some, I'll talk about that in a second. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, I want to do some incline pressing, get a lot of tension on my chest, you know, really push it weight-wise, and then maybe move on to like some cable press or some pec flies, really focus on the squeezing aspect of the rep, and then, you know, maybe finish with cable flies and really focus on fully stretching myself out, just get as much blood into my chest as possible. And in the process of doing that, you know, I do kind of hit the whole thing. So this will be the last thing I say before we start. But when it comes to flat pressing, I don't have a problem with it. You know, I'm not really going to do, you're never going to catch me do flat bench or flat dumbbell bench. I am always going to prefer incline free weights, just because, partially because I've only done incline for so long, but also I don't need a bigger lower chest. You know, so for me, I am always trying to bias upper chest growth. I want the whole thing to grow, but your upper chest is typically going to be a lagging portion, at least for, you know, the general population of lifters. If you're somehow genetically blessed with a fucking shelf, then good on you. You know, spend your time working on your lower pecs. But, you know, whenever I do a flat press or even a semi-decline cable press or a cable fly, you know, it's still solid. It's just, I think a lot of flat pressing, it's whatever. As long as you get a good chest, you're good. But I'm definitely going to prefer mainly incline pressing because my upper chest needs a touch more work. But let's just try not to heat the car up like an oven before I get there. Get warmed up, and then we'll actually I'll show you the warm-up. I've got a bad habit in these videos of just jumping straight to the first working set without actually showing the process of what I do beforehand. You know, warming up my shoulders and the warm-up sets, whatever else. So let's cut to that first little cable warm-up. I almost started warming up without recording it, just out of habit. But think about it this way. Before you do a heavy bench, what muscles are going to come into play? I know my triceps are, so I want to get my triceps warm, make sure my elbows have some kind of, I don't want to say pre-exhaustion, but there is kind of something that comes I'm not sure what exactly, but like warming up kind of your elbow tendons and everything. Same thing with my knees. If I sit in the leg extension for a little while before squats, not even going crazy heavy, but just kind of putting some tension in the whole system first, they do feel warmer. So, before anything, sit here, do some tricep pushdowns. My rotator cuffs are going to come into play. So, this is also kind of a preventative measure. Ever since I really started prioritizing these little kind of half face pull, half rotator cuff warm up before I do any pressing, my shoulders have been pretty bulletproof. And I really can't vouch for this little movement right here enough. I used to, and partially it's because my bench form has changed. I used to have a very flared out elbow on incline barbell. Now I tuck them in a little bit. But ever since I started doing this, shoulder, crunchy rotator cuff on pressing, have never noticed. Not for the last like year-ish. So I'll end up just sitting here another, I don't know, maybe 5-ish minutes, kind of go through this little circuit. A little bit of chest activation before I do the real kind of warm-up sets on whatever pressing move I'm going to do. And typically, I'm one to say like, you don't have to warm up too long. These are not working sets. I'm not doing working sets to warm myself up, but making sure that everything that's going to come into play is ready to be loaded. I promise it'll make a difference. I can almost guarantee every 40-year-old dude out there who says I used to bench 315 in high school, there would, unfortunately, if this is you, I don't mean to call you out, but I can almost guarantee you were not properly warming up your shoulders and your elbows pre-chest day. No matter how strong you are, you can still get messed up a touch. So if that's you, it's not too late. I swear doing these will also kind of help fix your shoulder. If you ripped your shit all the way off and you need surgery, that's probably beyond these little warm-ups capabilities. But having a tough and warm rotator cuff pre-pressing, you'll notice. So I'll sit here another few minutes, just kind of get in the zone, and then we can jump to whatever the first pressing set will be. And I'd be lying to you if I am a little disappointed. This fucking gym is dead. I was kind of excited for Considera's energy, but that's all right. I'll just draw it up internally. Incline Smith. I've made my decision. So, same thing with squats. If your working weight is closer to like the 2-plate range, then maybe go up like 25s. But usually all I do is sit here, do a plate for 7 or 8 or whatever, get used to it. Then 2 plates, then 3 plates, and then maybe 3 and a 25 if I'm feeling crazy. Get a feel for it, get exposed to it. Because part of the reason that I do that is not only to get exposed to the weight so that when I do my working set, it's not like it doesn't surprise me with how heavy it is. But you kind of do have to literally fucking warm up your chest because you're going to end up firing way better. If I tried to just slap 3 plates on right now, even if physically I could do it, if I took a set to failure without actually being properly warmed up, I'm just literally going to get less reps than I would if I'm properly kind of prepared for it. So, a few reps for the plate, and then we'll go from here. Make sure to get this in the right position. Come on, goddamn it. All right. That's not symmetrical at all. There we go. Perfect. Move up. All right. Let's see how three plates into 25 feels. I feel pretty strong, so maybe we'll throw some real weight around. That'll be a good working weight. I need some chalk though. I gotta drop a plate. That was a really good slow set. I didn't think I'd be able to get one more rep with 3 plates and a 25. And what was that, 6? That's a little below my bar. If I go too heavy, I get less than 8. I make it a drop set just so I can get a little closer to that 8 to 12 range. I think one more with a plate, and we'll go from there. Awesome starter though. This is looking pretty good so far. I might be a little nastier with this one speed-wise, but yeah, I think I've learned my lesson about heavy Smith machine way too fast when I hurt myself last time. So my safety senses are gradually improving, which I like to see. The last thing I want to do is fucking hurt myself. But I want to push myself as hard as physically possible. And those two ideas are kind of counterintuitive. So it's kind of a fine line of, effort and weight with like how much can you really handle? So I kind of want to get as close to that line as possible. Never go over. As soon as you hurt yourself in the gym, you're a total fool. Me included. But let's hit this one. I'm not done. I just want to make it a rest pause. Okay. Oh. Do I want to do another one? Or do I want to move on? let's cut to the future and find out. Ugh. One more, probably a drop set. But if I get like 8 reps minimum, I can just call it the 3 plates. Let me just partner with a good song. Yeah. 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 Okay. That's enough. Let's move on to something else. Oh, goodness. 4 plates on this incline chest press might actually be a little bit too much, but I did a feeler rep with 3 plates, which I thought would be too heavy, but I felt pretty fucking strong. You know, just because you did one weight the last time you're at a particular gym or your last chest day, if you're extra strong one day, make use of it, man. Don't go light. Look, and by light, I mean easy. Don't go easy. But let's throw the shit around. And if it's too heavy, turn it into a drop set. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay, that was a good heavy one, but I gotta drop it. And I'll make this next set a little bit more squeezing emphasis instead of, you know, weight tension emphasized. Really good set though. I'm surprised I can even do that many. Now this set, I really want to squeeze it, so I'll do some tempo reps first. Yeah. 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 Okay. I guess that first set took a little more out of me than expected. That was a good one though. I think we just finished with pec deck and that's it. What is that already? Five heavy pressing sets, 2, maybe 3 pec flies. You go hard. I think that's more than enough. So my chest is already fucking cooked. You know, I'm talking perfectly medium rare. But I still want to get some extra oomph from some more, I don't want to say fluff, but I do want to say kind of, you know, pump focused sets. Like I think if the only sets that I did today or in all my lifts were lighter squeezing sets like these, I don't think I'd be I don't think I'd be as big. Definitely not as strong. And it's not all about strength, but it's kind of an important factor. If you're big and strong, you can lift heavy weights, do serious damage, good damage that is. So, as you grow,
your strength should. It doesn't have to be 1-to-1, but you should get stronger over time. It's a good indicator your training is actually working. But I think a kind of tempo set of these, finish with a set of cable flies, that'll be the end of it. Okay. Got some cables. That goes down. Light-ish weight. I can more than control these first 10 reps or so. So I'm gonna try to get a big stretch on top and then squeeze as fucking hard as I can at the bottom. Burn out like that, then see what kind of damage got accomplished. Yeah. Okay. Let's find some good lighting. So only five pressing sets. I mean, nothing crazy. They were pretty good though. The strength was most certainly there. So honestly, I was super surprised about the Smith machine. I was like halfway to just doing 4 plates, but may as well back off just a touch. I mean, come on. 4 plates in a hurt pack is not even comparable to 3 plates in a 25 and a good pump. You know, I mean, add up the dots. But definitely getting noticeably closer to the end of the diet. Oh, oh. Oh yeah, one more. What am I talking about? Oh, oh, all right. Let's go eat something. There we go. Now, you know what that was? Do you freaking know what that was? That was an insanely good fucking chest day. There is literally no aspect of that that could have changed, you know, realistically. I guess in my imagination, oh, I could bench 6 plates. No. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, in my current state, that's the best lift I could fucking have. And I only had 1 meal today. All I had was a really big late breakfast. Egg white omelet, 2 slices of toast, and actually no, that's not true. I had like how many grams of, I don't know. I've got this little desk candy sitting in our kitchen that I keep picking at every so often. It's 6 grams of carbs a piece, and I had 10 of them. So egg white omelet, some toast, about 240 calories worth of sweets, which you can fit into your day. You can definitely fit into your day, as long as you're careful about the rest of your calorie intake. And then more than enough water to be properly hydrated and get nice and fucking sweaty. So I mean, this is just fucking perfect. You know, you may as well have asked me in the morning, like, Sam, how could you make today abso-freaking-lutely perfect? And I would have said, you give me a goddamn good chest pump, and I'll be a happy camper. Voila. So this makes day what, 43. Day 43. I think we'll probably hit day, I don't know. We'll definitely hit day 60. This is going to be at least a 2-month dieting period, but it's not going to go much longer than that. Definitely not day 90. No fucking chance. No chance in HE double hockey sticks. I'm thinking more like maybe day 70. Another month max. But that'll just depend on how how quick I can peel off some of these last bits of body fat. I'd say right now, I've referenced this before. Once you get extra lean, you kind of start to look crazier over time instead of just looking a little slimmer. So I'm kind of in that period of change right now. Not like for a bodybuilding show or anything, but in a sense you could say I'm approaching the peak. Actually, no, I literally just am approaching the peak of the diet. And then afterwards, I'm going to ease in to gaining weight, ease into bulking up. And the reason that I think easing into it is going to be the best method for me, and this is not just a guess, this is literally from experience on the last bulk, is it makes gaining weight so much easier for me. If I immediately jump to 5,000 calories right off the bat, after I've been only eating like, mid 2700s-ish, then, sure, I'm going to blow up. I'm going to gain a lot of weight really quickly. But after that initial stage of like the 10 pounds of intramuscular carbs and water, a lot of that calories are, going to be kind of in excess. You want to be in a state of bulkedness, right? AKA being in a real calorie surplus. But if that surplus is too high, then your body is going to start adapting to it quicker, So I want to start off with maybe, to be determined, but I'll see, I don't know, maybe 4,000 calories a day. Even that might be a little bit high. Yeah, it's probably a little too high. I think I better start off with just 3,500-ish. 3,500 for a few weeks. Right? Should see a steady creep up in weight. Up into 4,000 for a few weeks. Up into 4,500 for a few weeks. 5,000 or so. I think a 500 calorie jump is pretty reasonable, because it's going to account for your body's, adaptation to your calorie intake, as well as, bumping you up into a higher surplus over time. But the reason why I say this is, for me, I've done bulks where I jump straight to a fucking bazillion calories, as much as I can eat. And then after, 3 months, I just can't eat anymore, because I'm already full throttling, man, You got to ease up to 6,000 RPM. You can't just launch it right away, or your engine's going to fall apart. Not that that's a really direct correlation, but you get what I'm saying. So that is the plan. And then hopefully I should see a steady rate of growth into the 270 range. And I say hopefully. Don't worry. This is not a matter of faith. This is only a matter of time. 270 will be breached. Ideally 275 or 280. But that's that might be a little bit what's the word? That might be a little bit what the fucking word am I thinking of right now? It might be a little bit crazy. But 270 range easy. Which is a pretty fucking gnarly number to say, honestly. I feel so actually kind of taking a step back and listening to myself say it. I feel so crazy saying 240 feels like a light body weight for me. I was about to say it feels like it was only a few years ago. It only was literally like a year and a half ago, where I was bulking up as hard as I could to even hit 240. And now, it's fucking hard for me to even get into the 230s. I was 240 flat
exactly this morning. So I think end weight is probably going to be around the 237 range, 237-ish, something like that. And then, well, I already talked about what the bulking weight is going to end up being. So, plan for tomorrow is a back day. No need to talk about that right now. That's for tomorrow. But what is a topic of discussion? What's a topic? Do you have one? Shout it out loud. If I actually, if I end up saying it, then that might feel kind of evangelistic to you. Man, I don't know. Perfect pump. Oh yeah, no, this is a good one. Here we go. I got it. I know it. Yeah, like I was talking about right when I walked into the gym, I was kind of hoping that it was going to be packed. Because around where I live, this Metro Fitness is pretty much the hardest core gym that I know. Solid weights, the populace, as it were. Like, these are some serious gym rats. I'm talking 200 plus pounders out the wazoo, lifting some serious weights. There's one guy in there I was talking to today. I literally just talked to him. I forget his name, but he was repping at 3 plates on bench. Love to see it. But yeah, I kind of went into the gym with the mentality of like, all right, I want to feed off of the energy that's going to be around me in the weight room. When I see somebody next to me going hard, I want to try to go even harder than them. And then I walk in and I'm kind of like, oh, there's like 5 dudes in there. And everybody's grinding, of course, but the overall vibe was a little pale. It was a little flat. And that's where, if you actually have a pretty clear vision of, what you kind of want to achieve when you walk into the gym and you're excited about it, then I don't care if that entire gym was completely dead and there was nobody in there. As soon as I get through the fire and the flames plan and I'm under 3 plates on the incline Smith machine, I'm going to try to push it to my physical fucking max, and I'm going to be fucking happy about it, So, as much as I like being in a gym with big dudes, big old dogs running around, throwing some serious steel around, it's not a necessity. It should be a comfort, because, if you can't perform when nobody's watching, right, who gives a shit? I mean, don't forget, 90, I don't know the exact number. COVID year was, there was a lot of them, but I've got to have done hundreds of lifts so far. I think I've done the math. It's been like almost 6 years. That's approaching like 2000. Yeah, so I've done hundreds of lifts in either the gym really late or in my little home gym in the basement with just the rack, the dumbbells, the cables, or whatever else, where there's nobody in there, right? It's just you. And I think lifters who have, at least no real problem getting it done when they're totally solo, I think those guys are going to have a better time when it comes to their longevity. Because if you have to rely on your crew with you to, get amped up and have a good workout and really push it, if you're the type of guy where you kind of go a little bit easier when nobody's watching, you're not going to have a crew with you all the time. I've brought this up before, so if this is repetitive for you, I apologize. But anybody who kind of came up in the gym from, sports training, like if you were any kind of contact sport, football, wrestling, baseball, I'm talking classic American shit, you were in the weight room in the summertime, right? You had your regular sports practice and you were also in the weight room hitting it. And that's an insanely high energy environment, high external energy. Because if you've ever seen these guys doing their, their 1 rep or their 1 rep max or their max out AMRAP tests, they've got a whole team of like 30 fucking dudes screaming at the top of their lungs, hyping up the guy doing the set to hit it as hard as he can. So if that becomes your baseline, you're a little bit spoiled, So, and I'm not saying you're spoiled in a bad way. I'm saying like you can be a little bit spoiled by that because, it is cool to have people kind of fucking yell at you and hype you up. You got an audience to perform for like that. But, even when it's just you, I think that's where, like I was saying a second ago,
knowing that you yourself want to have a nuts workout where you fucking push it as hard as you can. You know, just, I mean, to know that you did it, and to, you know, to also work towards your own progression over time. I think that's where it's at, you know. And that is regardless of skill. You know, intensity, relative intensity, it's a pretty even playing field. Whether you're a year one lifter, month one lifter, or a fucking, you know, 10-year lifter, the relative difficulty of a set and the amount that any one particular dude exerts himself, it's a 0 to 100. And weight is irrelevant. If somebody is capable of a 225-pound squat for 10 reps, and he does that 225 for 10 to his absolute limit, and then he even pushes it for one more and tries to bust out 11, you know, and has to fail it and, you know, set the weight down on the racks, he's training harder, and in my opinion, I think he's training better, at least in terms of, you know, an exertion standpoint, than the guy who can do 4 plates for fucking 20, but he pushes it to 12, gets a little uncomfortable, and says, "Oh, I got to rack it." You know, like that 225 set where the guy goes absolutely nuts, that's a better set in my opinion. So when I was on my come up in a way, you know, back when I was still in the back when my body weight started with a 1, you know, I've seen all these characters running around, you know, all the top dogs, big, strong, everything, and I know that if I'm training just as hard as them, shit, man, results are just going to come over time. And you know, I think that's something which it'll take a little bit of, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not going to say you have to be crazy to work out on a consistent basis. You know, I don't think that's a requirement. But you do have to have a little bit of a switch flipped on in your mind where, you know, you're exerting yourself purely for the sake of knowing that you're able to do it, right? I'm talking like taking an ice bath just to prove to yourself that you can handle it, or a cold shower, and just random shit like that, kind of challenging yourself. And I like that aspect of the workouts. It's kind of unlike anything else that I fucking do. You know, in my whole day, I fucking, you know, wake up, I got to take a bunch of tests this week. I don't know, whatever else I do. It's all kind of, I don't want to say mundane, but it, you know, it's just like whatever. You know, and half the shit that everybody does all the time is just stuff that they were kind of, you know, funneled into, right? Like nobody chooses to go to public school when you're a kid. You just get pushed into it, you know, and then the rest is up to you. But I think I'm probably just trying to make it sound cooler than it is because I like it so much. But if you're a real nut about the gym, then you know what I'm talking about, right? Going crazy. It just itches you right in the right spot. So I think that's all I have to say about that. I am more than ready to shower off, put on a clean pair of clothes. Oh my goodness, I gotta cram some thermal fluids. Gotta train the mind and the body apparently. So cardio in the morning, which, do you want me to get, I'm gonna get started on it. You know, I've already brought it up now, I can't stop myself. Why aren't you doing your cardio, man? It's not even that hard. It is legit not that hard, and the benefits are fucking, I mean, they're measurable. You know, you're not gonna become immortal by doing your cardio, but you are gonna be leaner year round, bulking or cutting. In terms of your training, you're gonna be able to go harder because you'll be able to catch your breath faster, you know, recover more, be able to do more hard sets, and you'll be able to eat more food, whether you're bulking up or cutting down. You know, so if I didn't do my cardio, I'd have to be much stricter about my diet, even when I'm in a deficit. You know, I'd have to say no treats for me because I'm not burning enough energy for the day to have them. And then when I'm bulking up, it also gives you a little bit more leeway because doing your cardio is, for one thing, going to improve your metabolism, but it is guaranteed going to improve your insulin sensitivity because you're just going to be able to have much better nutrient partitioning. And what I mean by that is if you're a more active fucking machine,
and your body's used to kind of pushing itself hard, then, you know, and this is kind of a bro sciencey way to say it, but as you eat food, you know, it's going to use it more so in a utilization kind of way rather than just storing it as extra body fat. So I can't say it enough, man. If I were to get a tattoo across my back, it would just say cardio in, like, you know, Los Angeles GTA letters, because that would look kind of cool. But whatever, man. Whatever. I'll keep doing it. If no one else in the entire world did their cardio, it would not stop me. So I'll see you tomorrow for back. And yeah, no, probably just back. I'll get like a full day of eating, grocery trip, something or other once finals are over. I've got to lock in just a bit. So I'll see you then.